But yeah, hopefully with this upcoming year, and with everything that's going on with the Jehovah's Witness organization, I think that this could be a really good year for the XJW community. I think that if we keep putting forward, because I'm seeing so many new channels, I'm seeing so many more people coming out and talking about it. And yeah, like so many people in my comment section, like, man, I'm thinking about starting my channel. Every time I see it, I'm like, go ahead. Anytime I see a new XJW channel, I try to share it. I try to like give it that little kick push to get it going, because I want everybody to be successful on this platform. I want everybody to get their message out, because the more we rise, the more they fall. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, people have to understand that it's not just one or two people. You know, for a long time, I think people came out and if they looked at apostate content, there were a few big names and that was it. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot out there. And now it's like exploded. And there's literally something for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the people who talk about spiritism, you got the born again XJWs, and you got the conspiracy theory XJWs, and you got the funny people, and you got like the real studious doing the, you know, the academic kind of stuff. I mean, you've got all aspects and all these people saying one thing: this religion is nuts and it's harmful, and look how many people and how many families it's destroyed.
That's right.
That's got to get somebody's attention.
It's been getting a lot of people's attention. I've been hearing so much about, like, one of the things I like hearing is, like, my mom watched your video and she was like, this guy's funny. I mean, he's an apostate, but he's funny. I hear that and it just lights me up inside, because like there are certain people who like don't like certain comedians or whatever, but they try to like tell their joke back to somebody else, but because the joke is so funny, they end up just hurting their own story. You know what I mean? So I just look forward to one day Jehovah, like them being so desperate. They like, look what this evil apostate said. And then they like play one of my videos.
Sometimes I wonder if the Bethel spies or the governing body people are watching our videos.
Absolutely.
Like, I know they're watching some, because you hear them say things that are from people's videos.
Yeah.
I've heard things like very subtle answers to Lloyd before.
Yeah.
Sometimes I entertain myself by thinking, like, is Tony Morris going to watch this?
Absolutely.
Could I put something in there that's like a code that they're going to then say something, you know?
Right.
Hilarious.
Right. I know for a fact, well, I don't know for a fact because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that people like Tony Morris and the other Governor Body members who are really just like puffed up with pride, you know, they get on the internet and Google themselves. I know they do.
Got to, yeah.
100%. And if you go to YouTube and Google Tony Morris, a ton of Lloyd videos is gonna pop up, you know?
Yep.
And I'm sure people probably send it to them, like, you know, especially other governing body members, you know, who, if they know exactly what's going on and they know it's all a trick or whatever, they probably send each other a little message like, you know, keep an eye out for this guy or keep an eye out for this young lady.
Yeah.
Like, watch out for them. They seem to be drawing a lot of attention. They seem to have a powerful message and stuff like that. I know they looking, they watching, they want to.
I just think it's wildly entertaining that I might have a video with, like, you know, the Pearl lady that they have to end up watching. That just makes me laugh so hard. Or one of the ones where I'm a horrible song, you know?
Right.
Which honestly, it's kind of sad, but I got a little bored with the song videos because after a while, they're all the same.
The melody is kind of the same, but I like your song videos.
They kind of start running together. No, this is a crazy thing about the Kingdom Song videos. Like, going into that whole project, I thought that, you know, a lot of the songs would be about Armageddon and, you know, maintain your integrity and firm and determined, you know, and they're not. I mean, there are those, but far and away, the most common message in those songs is, we're so happy, we're so joyful, we're like farting rainbows to be Jehovah's Witnesses. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
So they're like constantly reinforcing the message that this is what happiness is and this is what happiness looks like. And those poor people are miserable.
But that's
like miserable.
That's part of the brainwashing. That's something else I want to speak about is in my brainwashing videos is the fact that they don't really ask for your opinion. They kind of tell you your opinion all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like if a new publication come out, they're not really saying, hey, are you happy that we got this publication? They're saying, aren't you happy that we got this publication? And people are like, yeah, we're happy.
How pleased we are to have received this from Jehovah.
And this is the thing about brainwashing. You have to participate in your own brainwashing. And this is how they get you to participate. Because if they're saying, are you happy? And you're saying, yes, I'm happy, then you're participating in your own brainwashing. But if you were to say, I mean, I don't care. This is just yet another book, which is the honest truth. Most people ain't really excited about a new book that come out. You're just like, I mean, yeah, it's another book. It's probably going to be like all the other books, and they are. It's not
right.
so different, or like, oh, maybe they got some new scriptures we ain't never heard about in this book. No.
They got a new color for the cover, at least.
Exactly. Like,
maybe there'll be some more crazy pictures in it.
Oh, the pictures, yeah. Like, ooh, the art department. Let's see what they got this time. But it's really nothing that's exciting or joyful about it. And they tell people, aren't you happy? They're not asking, hey, are you happy we got this? They're like, aren't you happy we got this? Yeah. So it's getting people to participate in their own brainwashing, getting people to constantly say out loud, yes, I'm happy. Yes, I'm excited about this. Yes, this is God's organization. Yes, I'm happy with the spiritual food we got at this 5-day convention. Like of all the things in the world that, you know, they could actually be honest about, they're never really allowed to be honest inside of the organization. They're constantly told how to feel and what to do, and that's all about their brainwashing.
That's why they have no ethical, like no moral compass when they come out.
Yeah,
because they don't have one on the inside either. All they got's rules.
Yeah, and the rules.
Like, I mean, I've done the whole tirade on Sex in the Watchtower before about, you know, they don't have morality. Their whole idea of morality is around whether or not they have sex. Yeah. That's it. There's no ethics. There's no, you know, there's no real morality there. It's just what they do with their crotch. And
that's it. That's it. And the funny thing is that when you're in the organization, right? Like me, I had a double life. So I felt like I was doing good when I wasn't doing it, and I was doing bad when I was doing it, you know? But I was doing bad more than I was doing good. And I was like, hey, it's it. I'm going to die anyway.
I mean,
right. Exactly. But funny thing is that when I left the organization, when I was like, you know, this ain't it right here. This ain't it. And I left before I was, because at first I wasn't like, this ain't it. You know, I was just kind of like, this ain't for me. You know, I'm not good enough. That's kind of how I felt when I first left. So I'm like, okay. And I was just like out there, just with different people, just drinking, smoking, like just going crazy. Just going crazy. Like I went from one extreme all the way to the other.
Yep, me too.
And I had to learn, and thankfully quickly, that life isn't about extremes. You know what I mean? Like you need to live in the middle. Like right in the middle. That's the sweet spot. That's where you're supposed to be. That's where you should exist. That's where all the happiness is, you know, because it's pain on each side. You gotta live. Happiness is somewhere in the middle. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people, that's why they get so many people to come back, is because they think that, okay, now that I'm gone from here, let me go live this extreme life. And they find out that they're unhappy there too, because that's not where happiness lies. You gotta be in the middle. So it's
but the witnesses are all about the extremes, and they try to keep you on the extremes and out of the middle. Because if you get in the middle and you figure out, oh, hey, this is what it's about, then they've lost you.
They do, yeah.
Because there's no way anybody in their right mind would go back to that.
Nobody. Like once you know and you woke up, you can't be fooled again, you know? That's why
there's not a little kid in the world. There's not a kid in the world who would choose it if they have their own free will.
No, like once you realize the game, they could never fool you again. And this is the funny part. Like now when I talk to people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, I find myself constantly letting them know that I don't live in the box they're trying to put me in. They keep trying to put me in this extreme box. Oh, you only left because you want to sleep with women, and oh, you're probably out there doing this and that, and that. Like, they're trying to put me in living that extreme life, and I'm like, no, that's not what I do.
Nope.
That's not, like, any definition you have or you've been told about me, it's all wrong. Like, a lot of people like, oh, you laugh and you joke all the time, but you ain't really happy, are you? Yeah, I'm not happy.
As a matter of fact.
Right.
But, my mom tried to pull that. The cause of all your problems is because you don't have Jehovah in your life. And I'm like, Mom, I don't have any problems.
Right.
The minute I stopped having problems was the minute I stopped having Jehovah in my life.
That's right.
Like, I got rid of all this BS and all these people who don't understand how to love somebody. When I got rid of all the conditions and the expectations and the BS, guess what? I don't have any problems anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy how that works, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's why like when people try, and they try hard too. They try so hard to say that one, like I say, they say I'm unhappy, I'm living this crazy debauched life.
Yep.
I just don't want to follow the morals, and I couldn't stand up to the strictly high morals. I wasn't worthy. And I'm just like, no, this is the thing. Because if you were to see my life and see how happy I am and see how great things are going, it would totally crumble your opinion. Because for a long time, they were telling me, like, worldly people, they live these lives and they terrible, they bad. Yep. Then I got some friends who are actually worldly, right? I know, right? And
bad association.
Bad association. And these were like some of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Yep.
Like one of my best friends to this day is this guy, no religion at all, Like, even to this day, I don't even think we ever talked about religion. Like, it was just never interesting to him, right? I remember I was dating this girl, and I was at the club with him, and this other girl was interested in me, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give her my number, right? And he pulled me to the side, like, bro, man, you got a good girl. She nice. She there for you. Why would you even want to, like, start that? Like, even risk that, right? And I'm like, bro, you're right. You're right. And remind you, he had no loyalty to my girl at all. He had loyalty to me.
He's just a decent human. Thank you.
Just a decent human. Yeah. He just like, just don't do that. Because at the end of the day, one, you don't want to lose that girl. And two, you don't want to hurt that girl. Right. It's not worth it. You don't even know this girl. She could be, like, problematic. You're going to risk a girl that you know, that you like, for a woman you just met? Like, it don't make no sense, man. Just did it, right? And I appreciate that, because in that same club with me was a Jehovah's Witness, and he was like, yo, go get it. Like, he was just living in the moment, living in the night, like, yeah, go get it. Let's just have fun,
Well, that's, that brings up another point. Living in the moment. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we may die, or whatever. A lot of witnesses, they do only live for today because they expect Armageddon can come like a thief in the night. Yeah. And so they don't have to worry about the future, and they don't have to plan for retirement, and they don't have to think about the long-term impact of the decisions that they make.
And they're being robbed of their future.
Fix it all.
Yep. And that's me. Like, I got robbed of my future too. I didn't think I'd get this old. I didn't think so.
Oh, me either.
My father told me that one of his biggest fears in life was when he found out that my mom was pregnant with me. They had a child, I got a ton of, like, brothers and sisters, but my father and my mother only had 3 kids. And it was my sister that's older than me, and it's me. But after my sister that was older than me, they thought that was going to be the one kid that they had together. They ended up having 2 more. But when she got pregnant with me, because it was in 82, right? It was not too long after 75, 82, not that long, right? They felt like the end was literally any day now.
Yep.
And he was worried that he would have a hard time trying to get my pregnant mom around and hide from the police and the government when they come attacking them. He thought
when they haul us off to the camps. Yeah. I was raised on that too. My mom actually held me back from kindergarten when I was a kid because she thought Armageddon was coming. So when I went to kindergarten, I was 6 already.
Wow.
And I was already reading, plus undiagnosed, unmedicated ADD, which they weren't really diagnosing girls at that point. But I was a holy terror. I'm sure that I drove everybody nuts. But yeah, I was the oldest kid in the class my entire school career because of that.
Wow, that's crazy. But yeah. And when my father was saying that to me, it kills me now that I'm 38 and I have 2 kids and Armageddon still not here.
It ain't coming.
And they still, and it still hasn't sunk in like to my mom yet. Like she still doesn't get it. Like, yo, it's not coming.
Well, and the worst part is like the damage that it does to the relationships with our children, right? Like my father is a good example. He's a wonderful, wonderful grandpa. My kids got to know him just enough to fall in love with him, and then he ghosted them. Because I imagine, I don't know because he hasn't spoken to us, but he lives 20 minutes down the road, and it's been almost 2 years since he's seen his 2 grandsons who have never been Jehovah's Witnesses, who have never, my husband's never been a witness. Like this is all about, I think, not getting attached because Jehovah's going to kill them in Armageddon because of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is crazy. Yeah. And even if setting all the ludicrous bullshit aside and thinking, okay, even if any of this was true, would a God who would do such a thing actually be worthy of worship? Because I don't think so. I think that would be an evil motherfucker.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, it's just me. But
that's a great point though. Like, even if everything you say is true, even if like somebody, and this is the thing I don't think they really think of, like my mom or whatever, like, Mom, if somebody killed me, would you worship them? Like seriously, if somebody killed me, would you worship them? Because it's a couple things. Whenever I talk to my mom, I make her acknowledge. Because one, I know it helps her in the long run to make her feel like she ain't doing nothing bad. And two, it kind of helps my position. I make her acknowledge that I'm not lying to her. I make her acknowledge that. Because I ask her point blank, Mom, am I lying to you? Is that a lie I just said to you? Is that a lie? Is there anything untruthful that I said in this entire conversation? And she's like, no, you ain't lying. Because remember, the definition of an apostate is a liar, or a deceiver. Somebody who tries to trick you, tell half-truths or anything. So I make her acknowledge, like, I didn't tell you no half-truths. I didn't try to deceive you. I'm not lying or nothing. Because as long as she knows that I'm not doing the apostate stuff, she can still talk to me and associate with me. I try to help her out in that way. But it also strengthens my position that I could point out things to her that she knows true, and now she got to think about it. You know what I mean? Now, I don't try to do this too often because my mom's, she's old, and to be honest, if she wakes up, it might be rough for her. It might be really
There's
rough.
a point at which it would do more harm than good, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't always try to wake up. I just want to give her, because she asks, she asks questions and she has opinions about stuff, and she knows I have very strong opinions about stuff, and she knows I'm not dumb, and she knows that I got to a certain place for a certain reason, and she likes to talk to me about that. So I just make sure that I make her acknowledge that, because this organization is not logical and they hurt people, And
the more I think the people who are coming out, the more of us they see out here, like living our best life.
Facts.
The more they're going to realize, the faster they're going to realize, like, hey, maybe this is not such a bad, scary thing to go look outside and see what other people are doing. Maybe if they lied to me about this, maybe there's something else they're lying to me about. I wish that there had been this kind of a thing when I was coming out. Because
Yeah.
back in 1998, 97,
It
I mean,
wasn't.
there was like
Yeah.
2 message boards.
Yeah.
Those old BBS, you know?
Right. Yeah. It wasn't like
Old school. There wasn't any YouTube. There wasn't
that was
any.
on the dial-up, right?
Yeah, it was the crazy dial-up internet, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
had to work hard to find the information. You know, so there was a long time that I kind of believed the witness line about like, oh, well, you just can't hack it because you're not good enough and you just want to do bad things.
Yeah.
Even though I knew that wasn't why, it's still, that whole programming was there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I imagine it would be easier for a person coming out now because there's so many of us saying, look how ridiculous this is.
It is. It is. And this is the thing, even especially now, people can like have those thoughts, because I've learned a lot of people leave the organization simply because they have a thought. They're not getting the answer they want for that particular thought that they're having. And then they hear somebody in the XJW community hint at that answer. And they're just like, well, wait a minute. I've been thinking that, and I thought that too. And what you're saying makes total sense. What else do you got? You know?
Well, I mean, to me, it came down to the fundamental idea of Christianity. Like, if you've watched any of my videos, you probably heard this already. But like, the biggest thing to me is, all right, so you've got redemptive sacrifice. Somebody's got to die so that the rest of us can live. Why? Like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna ransom Jesus. All right. Who are we paying the ransom to? Jehovah. Who's paying the ransom? Jehovah.
All right.
He's sending Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Now, Jesus can be tortured to death to pay Jehovah for what Jehovah made in the first place.
Yeah.
Which,
and he knew all that was going to happen.
right. Like, why would you do that? Why?
It makes no sense at all.
Right.
Like from top to bottom. But people eat it up. People.
Then you know, then you have the whole Satan conundrum.
Yep.
Like, okay, Satan's this big, he's the bad guy in the Garden of Eden, right? For telling them that they weren't going to die if they ate the freaking fruit. Well,
And
did
they
they die?
They didn't.
No.
They died later of old age.
So he told them the truth.
Yeah, he didn't
But
lie.
he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he did.
I don't get it.
Like, he was like, so far, everything he said that was going to happen, happened. He said, if you eat it, you'll know good and bad. They did.
Yep.
Even if you eat it, you won't die. They didn't. and then after all that happened, he was just like, I appreciate it. He just got up out of there. He didn't hurt nobody. He didn't really. And then even in the
God's the one that hurt everybody.
Exactly. Like,
throw them out of the garden. Oh, so knowledge of good and bad. I think this is very interesting. They said like, oh, they'll have knowledge of good and bad, and all of a sudden they realize they were naked.
oh yeah. So
how is that bad? We're naked.
Yeah.
And then no wait. So this thing I was reading, researching for the Sex and the Watchtower. Okay, so they realized they were naked and they need to cover themselves up. And apparently there was no fooling around in the Garden of Eden before that. Well, how were they supposed to multiply and fill the earth then?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden that's bad, but then sex isn't supposed to be bad as long as you're married, but they couldn't get married because there weren't any justices of the peace. And so,
yeah. Maybe he was just gonna be giving out a lot more ribs. Maybe like Adam was just like, here's some more ribs. This is how we reproduce.
Fix the McRib on the 8th day.
Exactly. Just a ton of ribs. Here's a rib for you, and here's a rib. This is how we reproduce on Earth. We break ribs.
I'm hungry.
I know, me too, right? Like, man, I can sure go for a baby back right now. That's kind of my problem with religion too. Like, not all religions are bad. Like some people, they need it. They feel like it really helps them. But I just know that if you buy that first building block of God is this God of the Bible is, the dude.
Yeah.
You get that first building block, then the Jehovah's Witnesses can build on top of it. Other people can build on top of it, and it can go in a bunch of different directions, and most of them aren't good.
Right.
That's why I don't subscribe to it. That's why I have a problem with it. And I'm still, like I said, I live in a space whereas I could be wrong. So just so I could like always be open to more information, no matter what it is. And that way I even have a better argument. Because so far, listening to Christians and stuff like that, it just gives me a better argument.
Right, yeah.
Going forward. So I never turn down information.
If anybody could show me evidence or present something that would make me honestly consider the whole thing plausible, then I would be more than happy to change. I mean, give me some evidence. I'll change my beliefs. I'll go back and praise Jesus, but I don't think it's very likely.
That's right. That's right. And what's really messed up is that they won't do that on the other end. Like, yo, you present us with some good evidence. Like, okay, let's look up evolution. Do you know that whales have hip bones? You know why they have hip bones? Because they're closely related to the hippopotamus, which means that at some point they had a common ancestor and they evolved in two different directions. Yep. God didn't make the whale. If you want to say he made something, but it wasn't a whale.
Yeah.
It turned into a whale. But stuff like that, like actual evidence, they just reject it. They're just like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But whenever we're like, oh, give us some, prove to me the flood of Noah day. Just prove that.
Feel it in my heart because the Bible says so.
Can you really fit all, like, 2 of every animal on the planet on a 400-foot boat? Can you do that? No, like,
no way.
You can't do that. It's not possible with physics. Okay, and then even if you did, could you fit them in there for 40 days and 40 nights?
Could you imagine how much poop?
So much. It'd be the floating stinky boat. And I mean, 40 days and 40 nights too. What are they? No food, huh? Because they can't eat each other. What did the lions eat?
How you gonna feed it? Yeah, how you gonna feed them?
Exactly. Like, what type of water are they gonna get? Because they're in the ocean, right? The sea, or is it like an ocean of fresh water? I don't know.
I mean, it was rain.
Yeah,
but it couldn't have been clean with all that poop flowing out of the boat and all those dead things. Like,
maybe that's why the oceans are so salty. It's everything from Noah's Day. That one boat and salted up the entire ocean. Right. But
I also love how the witnesses always said that the ark was a complete like a rectangle. Yeah. Like their drawings of it always looked like one of those shipping containers from China. You know what I'm talking about?
Broke off there, they just fell in the water.
Yeah, like it's just a big block.
Right.
That wouldn't really float too well, I don't think.
I don't think so either. They're like, well, it's made of wood, it has to float.
1.5 billion animals in it, it'd be like flopping over.
It would. Like, come on, you think that God would create a better boat than that? I mean, come on, that's not even seaworthy.
You would think.
Floating shoebox. You're just like, what do you do? Like, it makes no sense at all. But because it was in the Bible, they're like, oh, it must have happened. It's in the Bible.
Well, one of the quickest things to do away with faith in the Bible is to go to an actual Bible history class. Go learn how the canon came together and who decided what went in the Bible and what didn't go in the Bible and why they decided those things.
And how many people
so hard to come out of those classes thinking anything about the Bible being the Word of God. It just, no.
It's a fact. And a ton of people died in the Crusades too, when they were like going around and they weren't preaching. They were like, hey, either you love God or I'm going to stab you with this sword.
Right.
Like, those were the options.
Well, but even if you look in the Bible, it kind of blows my mind that people talk about like the good book and how like the witnesses in their literature all the time say, oh, the Bible's the best book in the world for like morals and teaching your kids about the facts of life and blah, 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 blah. But if you actually read it, it's full of crazy, like killing people and killing their pets and like kill all the animals and kill everything but the little girls.
Yeah.
And the women, and take those, like, so apparently slavery's okay and sex slavery's okay. And
yep.
like,
and let's not mention all of the incest. Like,
oh,
so much
gross.
incest. Come on, it was only 2 people, right, that started the world. So that means that those 2 people had kids, and those kids, and then all of them got killed, and then there was just Noah and his
did
family.
it again.
Like, all right,
snap.
sisters and brothers again. Let's do this.
Our family tree's a telephone pole, Jay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is awful.
It's awful in so many different ways. But it's all through the Bible. Even Lot, like, he slept with his daughters. His daughters, like, got him drunk, and then they
but how drunk do you have to be?
Not that drunk.
Not just one daughter. Both of them.
Same time.
I'm sorry. How drunk do all parties have to? I don't think there is that much alcohol.
Oh man, and don't forget, like, he was like, hey, you know, instead of like taking advantage of this one angel who could probably destroy and defend himself very well because he's an angel, how about you take my 2 daughters and do whatever you like to them? Like, yo, what? Morality? Really?
Yeah, but it's the good book. It's, yeah.
The good. Hey, it's good for something, but I don't know.
Right?
I don't know about the moral part of it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, I gotta go make these kids some more food, and I'm sure they're hungry.
It's about that time, huh? Well, thanks, Jay. This has been really fun.
Yeah, we went all directions right.
It's a lot of fun, though. Thanks a lot, man.
Peace.